What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, family? It's your podcast mentor, Jonathan Jones, and I'm glad to be here with you today. Man, fresh off what going to podcast movement 2021 in Nashville, Tennessee, or some people might know it as Nashville, Tennessee. And today I want to just share with you five reasons that you should consider starting your podcast. Okay, let's get clarity. Let's get clarity. Let's get some clarity. I want to give you 5 reasons that you should start your podcast today. Okay. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I want you to share this with a friend. I want you to share this with somebody that you know has been saying that they want to start a podcast. I want you to share this with somebody who you know has a message, they have a story, or even if they're an entrepreneur that has a business, right? Share this with that friend, because one thing that they're really going to be in for a treat is with this. So first and foremost, we can't go any further without talking about the 5 days to podcast challenge, and that's rolling out tonight. Okay, tonight, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. For 5 days straight, I'm going to be going in and I'm going to be talking about how you can start your podcast, giving you the nuts, the bolts, the foundation, everything that you need to successfully start your podcast. All right. 5days to podcast.com. Okay. But today we're talking about 5 reasons you should consider starting a podcast. And the first reason that I don't want to gloss over, I don't want to miss, the first reason is that podcasting will help you establish your authority. All right. I put right there, podcasting will establish your authority. John, why do you say that? First things first is when people begin to see you as a podcaster in a space, right? So for me, I had Speak Your Success podcast. All right. In Speak Your Success, I was gearing towards millennials and young professionals. And the thing I really loved about Speak Your Success is I was in a position to where I would have conversations with my friends who are millennials. I would have conversations with other young adults who I would meet that are millennials as well. And then we would begin to have conversations about what are our struggles? What are we currently going through? What are we trying to identify? What are we trying to learn? And then being in that space, I would hear what the struggle was. I would hear what the challenge was. And then I would go back and then I would do an episode on that thing. Right. Imagine that. Imagine if you have a business, right? From a small business owners that are currently catching the stream of the broadcast. Imagine that you're a business owner, right? And you know that people have a problem with getting slow service. All right. So let's say you're a chicken place and you know that people have a problem waiting in line. People have a problem with getting served. So now if you realize that this is a problem, you can begin to attack that problem. Okay. So that positions you really well to be the expert and be the authority in providing customer service, because you know what? You know that people are fighting this customer service battle. All right. So with the podcast, if you're in one lane every day, you're talking about how to renovate your home, how to renovate your kitchen, how to fix and flip. If every day you're talking in a specific subject area about a specific subject matter, that makes you what? A specific subject expert. Experts get paid. Orthopedic surgeons get paid. Neurologists get paid. Because why? They're niched in an area. All right. So you having a podcast, the first reason is it'll help you establish your authority, which then will help you command a fee. But we're not going to get off on that. So first point is podcasting will help you establish your authority. All right. Second point I want to touch on is this. One thing about podcasting, right, is that it's audio. Okay. And one thing about audio is audio can be played wherever there's a speaker. Audio can be played wherever there's a device. So understanding that having one of these, having a laptop, having a computer, this now allows you to what? This now allows you to be in the place and be in the space to where you can reach people wherever they are. John, how can I reach people wherever they are? For one, Alexa can play podcast episodes for you. For two, Google Home can play, and that's my Alexa in the back room talking now. But if I tell Alexa, play a podcast episode of Beyond the Ball podcast with Jonathan Jones, Alexa will pull that, right? So it allows us to increase our reach, not just in the United States, not just in another country, but ultimately throughout the whole world, right? Through the whole world. Oh no, somebody said I turned their Alexa on. Oh no, oh no. If you're somebody and you're saying, John, I would love to have my message reach somebody in another country, just comment, right? If you're on Facebook watching, if you're on YouTube watching, just comment, that's me, down in the chat box. Just comment, that's me. If you're somebody who's saying, I would love for my message to go beyond my city, I would love for my message to go beyond my state, I would love for my message to go beyond my house, just comment, that's me, down in the chat box. All right, I'm seeing some that's me's. I'm seeing some that's me's. That's me's. I see you. I see you. All right, so understanding those two things, I want to take another slight caveat. And if you have not, right, if you have not done this already, if you have not, I want you to, for me, I want you to go to 5days to podcast.com and register for the challenge. All right. The challenge is kicking off tonight. Go to 5days to podcast.com and register for the challenge. You want to get in the building. You definitely want to get in the building. Gloria Pearl Jones, I see you. I see you. So the third point I want to share with you all is this one right here. All right. And I want to share this because, like I shared a little bit earlier, I was at Podcast Movement 2021. It was in Nashville. My first time in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay. Nashville was really neat. Okay. Nashville was really cool. Just getting to go out in the city and then even getting to attend the iHeart Radio after party with Questlove, who DJs. I didn't know Questlove DJs. It was wild. It was wild for me. But seeing how we were at Podcast Movement, which is a conference, right? It was the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. It was what, those 4 days. That allowed me to understand something, that for one, for people to be at the hotel, nobody was at the hotel for free. Okay. Somebody had to pay ultimately to be in that hotel. That's the first thing. Then I started to think, well, if somebody had to pay to be in a hotel, they have all these restaurants, that's money. They had all these exhibitors, that's more money. And then they had these badges. I left my badge actually upstairs. I'll probably do another video and show you all about that when I talk about my recaps for Podcast Movement. But I began to see that, well, I knew this already, but podcasting can position your business. Podcasting can position your business, right? John, how can podcasting position my business? First things first, if it helps you establish your authority, right? Like we talked about, that was number one. That allows you to begin to grow in your individual niche and in your individual space. Then the second thing is, if it helps you increase your reach. So now you've grown in your space, you've grown up. And now increasing your reach allows you to grow out. Okay. And then when we go and then we start talking about podcasting and how it can position our business, the thing we want to really focus on, the thing we really want to hone in on is understanding that Mr. Whedon, greatness every day. My brother, Mr. Whedon, greatness every day. The podcast king is back. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I did an interview with Mr. Whedon. I'm not sure what that was, like a year ago, 2 years ago. But yeah, I did an interview on Greatness Every Day, the Greatness Every Day podcast. That was a fun interview. We had a good conversation. Good conversation. So what I want to hone in on is how it can position your business. John, how can it position my business? Y'all, I want you to think about this, okay? Whatever industry you're in, and I'm saying whatever, this is a generalization. I know it's a generalization, but I'm okay with that. Whatever industry you're in, imagine you being able to leverage your expertise to ultimately where you can begin to generate revenue from that thing. There was a gentleman doing a presentation on how one of his clients is the power washing king. And he started a podcast. And I believe the numbers were he generated like 30K in a year or something like that. But I believe it was like passively. Talking about power washing. What? Family, power washing. Because he used the podcast to put him in position to leverage his business. If every day he's talking power washing, I listen to his podcast, he helps me get clarity on ways I can begin to power wash my sidewalk, power wash my house, power wash brick, whatever it might be. I'm going to go back to him to continue to get solutions because that's what he's providing. All right. Is that helping anybody? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Comment in the chat box if that makes sense for you. So it allows you to position your business in that way. But I have some stats for the people who like stats. I have some stats for you. SEM Rush says that in 2018, 12 billion hours, billion with a B, 12 billion hours were spent listening this year to podcasts. That number is expected to hit 15 billion hours. And by 2024, all right, and by 2024, the number's rising. Family, the numbers are rising. We have some yeses. It does make sense. The numbers are rising. I want you all to think about this fact right here. Think about this fact. More than half of consumers will listen to only part of a podcast episode. More than half. While 52% stay tuned for the entire thing, according to Edison Research. This is around podcasting. John, why is this relevant? Why does this matter? Because it helps you position your business. John, why is it relevant to position my business? Because of this right here. We're in 2021. One of the most difficult things to do is to do the fourth point I want to share with you is to grab your audience's attention. And if it's one of the most difficult things to do, which is grabbing your audience's attention, and then we have a platform or we have a medium that will allow you, to grab your audience's attention, that will allow you to nurture your audience, that will allow you to serve your audience, that will allow you to educate your audience. Now, the thing that really takes place here and is important, and then we get 52% of people to listen to the entirety of the episode, that puts us in place to connect with them on a real level. Maybe we can offer them a product. Maybe we can offer them a service. Maybe maybe they'll tell us what they want. All right, all right, all right. And then the fifth point I want you to think about is this, okay? If you're somebody who's out there and you're listening, you're saying, John, I hear what you're saying, but you're saying, John, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, right? If you're somebody who's out there saying, John, I don't have a business, John, I don't have a service to offer, John, I don't know what I would even inform people about. Just if you're honest enough, just comment that's me in the chat box. Just comment that's me. If you're saying I'm not sure of what I would say, I'm not sure of what content I would cover, I'm not sure of how I can nurture my audience, just comment that's me in the chat box. It's okay. If that's you, it's okay. If that's you, it's okay. It's okay. Right? Okay. 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 I see you. I see you. I see you. So understanding that, I want to take a slight caveat here because I think this is imperative. That you need to be in the podcast challenge. 5 days to podcast. We're going to lay that thing out starting tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can go to 5days2podcast.com. Okay, go there, register for the challenge. It's going to be some good information. We're going to be doing some good home cooking. Okay, and the last point I want to give you for the fifth point to round it all off, last point I want to give you is this right here, okay? The last point is, if you don't know what you would talk about, if you don't know who your message is for, if you don't know how to encourage your audience, if you're just not sure, point number 5 is for you. By you having a podcast, this gives you something to stand on. This gives you a place to where you can share the journey with people. This gives you the opportunity to where now you're letting people know, I wasn't sure what I was going to cover, but as I learn new information, I'm going to share it with you. Right? You're bringing your audience along the journey with you, along the mission. So understanding those things, if you all felt that this was beneficial for you, I would encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go to Jonathan Jones Speaks. Just type that on YouTube and you can subscribe. Okay. Because we're going to be covering all things podcasting. I'm your podcast mentor from long distance, right? In addition to that, though, you want to make sure you sign up for the podcasting challenge. It's a free challenge, 5 days to podcast.com. All right. And I'm going to give you the nuts and bolts you need just to get your podcast up and running. Because I believe that money is being left on the table by us not creating a space to where we can send people to nurture them, to answer their questions, to serve and support, and to add value. So really quick, I just want to recap the points. This is the 5 reasons of why you should consider starting a podcast today. Okay. The first point is podcasting helps you establish your authority, right? Doctors, lawyers, principals, they're authorities in their respective areas because they've niched down and they've invested time, money, and ultimately they've invested some sweat equity to get their authority status. So you can do that with your podcast platform. The second thing is it allows you to increase your reach, right? Because you increase your authority by going up here. You increase your reach by reaching out, going further, connecting with people all across the world. The third thing is it helps position your business. By you having further reach and by you having an authority in a space, people are going to come to you for certain information, for a certain insight. So consider that. The fourth thing is it grabs your audience's attention. All right. You having a podcast will grab your audience's attention. Like Edison Research said, if 52% of people stay tuned until the entire episode, there's a lot of shows that can't even demand that right now. So you want to establish your credibility while holding on to your audience's attention. And then the last thing is, podcasting gives you something to stand up on. It gives you a place to build your foundation. It gives you a place to become an authority and bring people on the journey with you. So now, as you're doing that, the great thing about it is people will view you as the authority in the space. And then from starting a podcast, then you might do digital products. Then you might do an ebook. Then you might have a program to where you coach other people to do the same thing. But at the end of the day, you starting a podcast will position you for true lifelong success. So if you heard all this, you said, John, that sounds good. How do I find out more about the challenge? One more time. You can go to 5days2podcast.com. That's the word 5 typed out, 5days2podcast.com. So you can sign up for the challenge. And then it's a free challenge. You'll be in the group with me. 5 days. I'm giving you game to help you get your podcast up and running. So, all right, family. I hope to see you in the challenge tonight because it's going down. Once again, 5days2podcast.com. It's your podcast mentor, Jonathan Jones. And I want to encourage you. You have a message, you have a story, and the masses do need to hear it. So now is the time, like never before. Create your podcast to be able to establish your authority, increase your reach, position your business, grab your audience's attention, and ultimately make your impact. Your podcast mentor, Jonathan Jones, signing out.